All right, jobbers, what up? It is your boy BQ. There was no intro this week. I explained it last week, working on a new intro for the pod. So you just see my face immediately. No music, no nothing. And we're finally getting into this Bound for Glory review for 2025. It took me forever to get through this show, folks. I was on my way back from Southern California. Was at the USC game over the weekend. So I just couldn't watch the show when it started, and I had the next day off for the holiday, so I said, I'll watch the show. I pop it in like it's a VHS tape. I turn it on TNA Plus, order the show, and I texted Mike Gilbert immediately. I said, "This show is 4 hours long. Fucking shoot me!" And I assumed when it was 4 hours long that it included the pre-show. And then when I saw that it didn't, it was like 5 hours. I said, "Oh my god!" And I just know me, and I knew it was going to take me forever to get through this show, and it sure as hell did. But we're now back in the place to be to talk Bound for Glory, and hopefully it's not too big of a deal for you guys because since they're going to phone in tonight with the episode, I'll be taking the week off from podcasting. Well, maybe I'll do some kind of other podcast, but I'm obviously not reviewing whatever show they've got on Access TV tonight. I feel bad because I told you guys they weren't taking time off after Bound for Glory. I was told they were not taking time off. They're taking time off. I mean, it's pretty clear. I think it was pretty clear a week or so ago when they weren't announcing tapings and but I was told they weren't taking time off, but they clearly are. And they're going to be back in the place to be in November, I believe. So I don't know if they're doing content the rest of the month. I got no idea. I don't pay attention like a lot of you guys to the dates and when they're traveling, when they're taping. I just like literally turn on the TV and watch the show. All that stuff is like irrelevant to me. I don't. I know like wrestling world is just kind of weird, where they're just always kind of following the dates of where they're traveling and when the tapings are starting and stuff like that. Like when I'm watching an episode, I have no clue where they're coming from. I have no clue if it's the first day of tapings. I just really like focus on the show. So, but many of you probably picked up on the fact much earlier that they weren't announcing anything. And trust me, I asked the question a couple times, and I never really got a super straight answer. But I was under the impression they weren't taking time off. So clearly they are, meaning I will too, because I'm not watching no After the Glory or whatever other show they come up with. And I think a lot of you guys aren't either. So let's get into Bound for Glory one time for your mind. I want to be careful not to be too negative here, even though it might be my shtick a little bit. But I say this every year, and I've said it for the last 10 years. Slammiversary is better than Bound for Glory. I think maybe we might have 1 or 2 years in there where Bound for Glory may have outdone Slammiversary. But for whatever reason, Slammiversary is superior to the show just about every single year. But I don't want to be too negative about it because did I think it was a bad show? No, not at all. I was entertained enough. Did I think it was a good show? I thought it was a okay show. So I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was okay. There's a lot of holes in this thing. And I think that a lot of you guys probably agree or will agree with my takes because I've seen enough social media chatter. I've seen chatter in the Impact Lounge group on Facebook. I think your opinions of the show might kind of align with mine. But I was not a big fan of Victory Road. I think that was a show before this. I really didn't like Victory Road. So I don't want to kind of have back-to-back negative pay-per-view reviews. So I'm going to try to, kind of see the good in what they did here. But the show had a lot of really wonky finishes. And I think that's what upset people. And, it is important to always see how things play out. I have to tell myself that all the time. But it doesn't mean it's not an excuse for something bad in the moment. It's not, it's not okay to like give us something that confuses everybody or something that everyone doesn't like just to say, oh, well, we're going to pay it off in 8 months. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just wrestling fans don't operate like that now. Okay. I think we all like a little bit of storytelling, but the story has to be good as well. It can't lose us on the first page. You know, when you're reading a book and you're just reading the first page, second page, and you're just already not into it and just bored off your mind, like you're probably not going to read the rest of the book. You know what I mean? S Very similar with movies or TV shows, like, there might be an opening scene or something that you're just that completely turns you off to sitting through the rest of the movie, so, I think there's just too many times within the way that TNA books, and it's kinda been like this over the years. Sometimes they prove us wrong, but I think there's just been too many times over the years where they kinda give us something that we don't like, and just the excuses will let it play out, and as my cat's fighting. But sometimes people check out by that point. So, yeah, I thought the show overall was okay. I wasn't jumping up in my seat about it. There was nothing on here that I would say you had to watch this. If I were, if I wanted someone who just hadn't really been watching TNA, and I wouldn't be like, hey, order Bound for Glory because you can't miss this moment or you can't miss this match. Like there was nothing like that for me. So Uh, I love the entrance ramp very, very much. I know WWE has used that. I remember them using that for the Royal Rumble, and I'm actually going to compare the Royal Rumble entrances to the Call Your Shot entrances here in a little bit, in a positive note. Trust me. But let's get into this, and we'll kind of talk match by match here, like we do, and I give you my thoughts. And as I said, I do think a lot of you guys probably agree with, the general premise of what I have to say here. I didn't get a chance to listen to Mike Gilbert's show yet because I wanted to record as soon as I was done with the show, and I didn't want anything spoiled. So I didn't get a chance to listen to his. I'm very curious. I texted with him a little. I'm curious to see how much our opinions line up. A lot of our opinions line up quite a bit. So we'll see. So your ring announcer for Bound for Glory is Mackenzie Mitchell.
Ding bong, ding dong, he's Stone Cold. Aye.
She was putting over her outfit on social media, which she looked very nice. Don't get me wrong, very classy. I thought we were going to see some cleave or something like that, though. But no, she always looks excellent. We had a pre-show. Well, first we had the Hall of Fame induction. I didn't watch them. I'm telling you guys that right now. It doesn't mean I'm not going to, but when you're talking about a freaking 5 hour wrestling show, that like I beg them not to do another 5 hour show. I know a lot of you guys can do it, and you can watch all these other shows. AEW's 3.5 hour shows, and well, they're not 3.5 hour. Their pay per views like 7 hours, but their shows are becoming. I believe Dynamite's starting to become like 2.5 hours. Who knows what the hell Raw is these days on Netflix? But I know a lot of you guys can watch a lot of wrestling. Like, please don't do a 5 hour show again. I will light myself on fire, throw myself out the window, let the crows eat me. Like, please do not. Oh my God. Anyway, pre-show. So we're just gonna get into the action itself. We kicked off with the inspiration.
I am iconic.
And they challenged the TNA. No, I'm sorry. I got this all backwards because they are the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champions. This is the rematch. My apologies. They took on with the personal concierge.
That's my dad. But don't worry, he's cool.
Really? He doesn't look cool.
The Elephants brand. Heather by Elegance.
He has an erection.
Yeah. It's all her fault.
Future WWE legend M by Elegance.
I keep dreaming, envisioning these long legs. And it's
Thinking of Susan Anton or what? What's the deal with that?
Man, oddly enough, this was one of my favorite matches on the show. And I repeat this all the time. I'm just like really becoming an Elegance brand fan. And I'll tell you what the turning point was for me was the first time I saw Em and Heather wrestle as a tag team together. Because as much as, I liked Ash, these girls are a lot better than her in the ring. So not to besmirch the name of Ash by Elegance, who did come out to the ring with them. And I always predicted we were going to get an Ash by Elegance nipple slip on the show, but we know now that that is not a possibility. So not to besmirch the name of Ash by Elegance, she's not as good as them though. So the first time I saw them really wrestle as a team, they have all these great like tandem moves, and by Elegance at one point did the coast to coast here, and it looked amazing for like a chick to do that. I mean, this is like a really good team. So I've just really got into their matches. I'm very high on the both of them. I hope they remain a team, and I hope they have like singles success on the Knockouts division. I just think they're a great act and just two great talents. But yeah, they're definitely becoming like one of my favorite parts, if not the favorite part of the show. So I really enjoyed watching the opener. I think the inspiration's okay. I was hoping the titles were coming back home to the Elegance brand, because I thought maybe they just shotgun the titles to them for the NXT Showdown episode, and the Elegance brand was going to get it back. I had the wrong title in mind when I'm talking about shotgunning titles. Unfortunately, we will get to that a little bit later as well. So I was really into this. I was really, really hoping. I was invested in who was going to win, because I really wanted Elegance brand to win again, get the titles back. I think they've been good champions. I like the inspiration, but the idea of them as the champions just feels so. They came from WWE. Let's put the titles on them. It just. I know they didn't rush it this time around. Like last time, they won the titles the very first episode, right? The very first debut. Not their first debut. That doesn't make any sense. The first time they showed up in the company, their actual debut, they won the titles, just like Mustafa Ali did. It's like we saw Roberto El Patron do once upon a time. I'm pulling that name out of my ass. Like it's just the TNA thing. You knew forever that they wanted to put the belts on these girls, and they did take their time for once, which I do commend them for. But I was enjoying the Elegance brand as champions. I'm not going to lie to you. So pretty decent opener. A lot of people were still filing it. It actually showed quite a bit of empty seats throughout the show, which kind of annoyed me. But man, there was a point here. Jesse McKay broke up a pin. What do you think Tom Hannafin did? Oh, and a kick out. Like if you're listening to me for the first time, I get on Tom Hannafin for everything's a kick out. Rope breaks, someone getting your shoulder up, rolling through a pin, your tag team partner breaking it up. Everything is a kick out. But yeah, he's sure as hell. I tried to like not put this show on mute, and the minute he called Jesse McKay breaking of a pin, and a kick out, I put it back on mute. So I was in and out of mute throughout the episode, just because I wanted to follow what was going on, but sometimes I just have to like tap out with those guys. So yeah, Inspiration keeps the belts, and who the hell are they going to fight next? The Angel Warriors. We're getting babyface versus babyface, handshake and whatever. We'll see. Oh, of course, one of his many appearances here, the king of television, Carlos Silva.
All right, we're going streaking. Bring your green hat. Let's go.
So he made it clear here he was going to hand every champion on the show their belts. I give it till I've told you guys he's going to be a character on the show. I give it till I don't think it's going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen around Genesis time. I'm going to say by March. By the end of March, he is a full-blown character on the show. So we shall see. We shall see. After this, we kick off the main show, and it is another title match featuring the TNA International Champion, King of the Block Party.
It's a block party. I'm not playing with y'all, bro.
Frankie Kazarian. And this is a rematch against Steve Maclin.
I do the ass kicking around here.
Wait your turn, jarhead. Ah!
And man, Steve Maclin's my favorite wrestler, okay? He's my favorite wrestler in the company. Do I want him to be champion? Of course. Did I lose my fucking mind when he had the world title for like a month and dropped it to Alice Shelley? Yes, I was so pissed. All right. Yes, I want this dude to be champion. Yes, I want this guy to win. I cheer for this guy at all times. Okay. Part of me was okay with him losing the belt because he had a good run. Okay, he was a strong champion. He made the title mean something. But I was ready to see Frankie Kazarian be a champion. He had the X Division championship for like, I think, a day, and then he cashed it in. He carried the the trophy around for damn near a year. They had no storyline for him. And I've always told you guys, I'm confident Scott D'Amore promised him the world title, as he did with many people. The company was not going to see that through at the time, so they have thrown him a lot of bones since then, a lot of bones, and they continue to get into that too. So I was enjoying the match. I said when I was doing my preview, for me, this will likely be my match of the night, and I would say it was I think it was the match of the night for me. Just for my style of wrestling, just for what I like to watch. So for me, the best two matches were the first two matches, and then I throw the main event on there. All right. So I was into this. I just did not expect Steve Maclin to win the title back. I actually gave them respect for when Mil Mascaras, whatever his name is, cost him the title at Turning Point, because when AAA wrestlers are on the show, well, I'll say it like this: in AAA, the local town doesn't care about titles, right? So I felt like they were kind of respecting that, and I felt that they were using that as a way to get the title on Frankie Kazarian to hopefully have like a lengthy run, because this guy I think is eventually going to feud with Steve Maclin, and I was kind of giving him props because they're not making it over the belt, and it looks like it's going to be over the belt now. So he's the champion again, and Mike Gilbert made a good point because I predicted Frankie Kazarian to win, but I think he said that Maclin might have been stationed there. He said something along those lines. So once he said that, this was after I did my preview of the show. It's like, oh my God, he's going to win it back. And I mean, his mom was there. They played America the Beautiful, and TNA does not get heat. When there's opportunities for heat, they don't take it. 99.9 repeating, of course, % of the time, they do not take advantage of heat, of a real opportunity to get it. So I felt like it was more likely we were just going to get a feel-good moment, as they usually try to do, and that's pretty much what this was. And I was kind of like, what was the point of the title change? And then, so I texted Mike about it. Shout out to Mike getting lots of love on the episode early. I texted him. I said, what was the point of the title change? Because again, I hadn't gotten to the gauntlet or anything. And he said he thinks NXT needed, asked for the title to be on Frankie Kazarian for the Showdown episode. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, I get it. They were trying to do champions versus champions, but like, feature the champions, feature the people who have been the champions. It was like, we want inspiration on the show, so we got to get the belts on them. Granted, they didn't drop them again, but I mean, why not be like, hey, use the Elegance brand? They're the longest reigning tag team champions. Why not use Steve Maclin as the champion, who's had a great title run? Maybe they won't put Steve Maclin on WWE TVs. That's highly possible. It makes a little bit of sense because Frankie was the only heel on that team, So, yeah, they just shotgun the title, just and Hanifit's a 2-time international champion. Like, dude, when you just win it right back after losing it, that shouldn't count. It's like saying someone's a 2-time 24/7 champion because they won it in 2 nights. You know what I'm saying? But I know I like the match. I pull for Steve Maclin to win, but for the sake of the show and the entertainment value that I hope to get out of the show, I wanted Frankie Kazarian to win. Heel champions are always more entertaining for the most part. So I wanted to see what he was going to do with the belt. I thought Steve Macklin set him up really, really well. He's been a good champion. I don't want the Macklin title run to eventually be bland. So sometimes you got to drop the belt. You can win it back later, but I just don't. I don't think baby faces should hold titles for too long. So, oh man, okay. So let us move on. This was the match I could not wait to see. We have Tessa Blanchard.
Oh, I don't like this. That if the Nuggets don't win this,
And her black friend Victoria Crawford.
My favorite match was with Melina and Alicia Fox.
She goes one-on-one with Gia Miller.
I will kill you.
And she was accompanied by Jody Threat.
I just felt like running.
And Jody Threat did a lot of running and not a lot of wrestling on this show. So, the entrance for Gia Miller was outstanding. I was told that they put that a lot went into that. The music, presentation, her demeanor, it was tremendous. Loved it. I thought I kind of went back and forth on the storyline. I thought the storyline was good. I think I went back and forth because I was kind of having a hard time connecting Gia Miller, the backstage interviewer, to wrestling all of a sudden. And, maybe they said, hey, maybe we'll visit a tag team match prior to it. They probably didn't want to give it away with Gia too much. There's not a lot to give away, but they probably didn't want to give away too much. They probably didn't, this was Tom Hannafin first time ever matchup. So I think they wanted them to keep their hands off each other. I'm always saying the value of getting to a pay-per-view where the two opponents have kept their hands off each other and we haven't seen them wrestle 900 times. There's a lot of value in that. That's why I was so interested in seeing this. So I'm sure they went through some options in their head. Should we do a tag team match at Bound for Glory? Should we do a tag team match before Bound for Glory? I don't think it would have been a bad idea to have Jody Threat training her a little bit in a couple episodes. Something, you know what I mean? So I've kind of gone back and forth because I thought the story was good, but sometimes I just feel like it was missing some layers because it's very hard for me to connect the dots if she's conducting interviews backstage and then she has this big grandiose entrance and she's going to wrestle. You know what I'm saying? So at least Ray Wall was kind of pointing it out. Well, she's wrestled a few matches on the indies. At least they kind of threw that out there. And even in the story, Tessa was saying, she trained, she just couldn't hack it, whatever. So, I was quite interested in this. And I'm going to tell you, even though it was a bad match, it was a work of art as far as just like the way it was laid out and just kind of really a nod to old school wrestling. Where, if this was Tony Khan, this would have been a competitive match. Like, tell me I'm wrong. They would have found a way to make this a competitive match. I was always saying it should not be competitive. It was dominant heel, hope spot, heel win. It is a formula that works, instead of wrestling today where it's like really, really 50-50, everything's competitive. There's just no definitive winners. Now, of course, Tessa Blanchard had to cheat to beat Gia Miller. They cannot find a way for a heel to beat a babyface clean. Even Tessa over Gia Miller. They just don't do it, won't do it. Now, Gia can wrestle. Okay, no disrespect. I think where the issues was that she was just rushing it. Like she tried to do the monkey flip, she tried to do the crossbody block. They were very, very rushed. Both moves were, she just went into them. Like if you're Trey Miguel, you can rush that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like you can do that. I thought she really needed to take her time and set up the moves a little bit better. But it was dominant for Tessa Blanchard, and she won, obviously. I said if Tessa lost, just get rid of her. I don't know if the story is going to continue because we know TNA, we know that the feud does not end until the babyface wins. That heels do not win feuds ever. So, is there going to be the comeuppance for Gia Miller? Are they going to do the tag team match? I don't know. Or is she just going to go right back to being, you know, oh man, you know what had me fucking dying was that Mackenzie Mitchell was announcing her and said she is the backstage correspondent. I was like, what was the point of it? It was like she was the Knockouts world champion. The way she just coming to the ring. She is the backstage correspondent. I thought that made her sound kind of weak, honestly. It's like, hey, the interview is coming out here to wrestle. It just had me dying. I was actually like laughing out loud at it because I thought it sounded fucking ridiculous. But I don't know. It's just she just go back to interviewing people backstage. Does she train? You know what I'm saying? Like because of the way the match was laid out, she got her ass kicked in front of her family. I can see a story that continues where Jody's like, okay, let's get in the ring and let's work. I still don't think she should ever beat Tessa Blanchard though. I just wouldn't put it past TNA with all the fucking fuck finishes they do and the roll ups and the distractions and no DQ. Shout out Santino Marella. Like, there's a world where Gia beats her, So we'll see. But I was just like really into it. I was really into the entrance. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure a lot of you guys were as well. I'm gonna tell you my biggest issue with this though. So Tessa beats her by hitting. I think Gia looks like she was going for a power bomb. Hannafin and Ray Wall, like she's going for some kind of big move. Like it's a power bomb, fake fucks. Okay. Looks like she's going for the power bomb. Tessa Blanchard hits her with a roll of quarters, it looks like, which I don't even know where she got that from. I know she ripped the turnbuckle off at one point. If she got the roll of quarters from inside the turnbuckle pad, that was actually a pretty smooth spot. But I don't know where she got it from. I just didn't notice. She takes her out. So she has to cheat to beat Gia Miller. At one point, I mean, they just brought him out to get paid, but Victoria Crawford got kicked out immediately. Jody Threat, who had no reason to chase her because she got kicked out, chased her and ran off and left Gia Miller for the rest of the match to fight by herself versus a former world champion. But here's my biggest issue. When the match was over, they should have shown Gia Miller getting to her feet, getting the huge baby face reaction, the ovation. That would have like really cemented her, got her over as a baby face, whether she wrestles again or not. It was a real, for this company that loves their feel-good stories, it would have come off great on TV if it showed her getting to her feet, being helped out of the, Jody Threat coming back and picking her up and putting her arm around her and helping her walk. I thought that was really necessary for the moment to capture the emotion. Instead, what did they do? They went to the fake Bioflex injury report.
You have 24 hours to live.
24 hours?
Well, 22. I'm sorry I kept you waiting so long.
To let us know that Team 3D is cleared to wrestle for tonight, who has not wrestled in over a year and probably didn't wrestle for fucking 4 years prior to that. Also, they took the opportunity to let us know, hey, Joe Hendry's out of action. All right, he was in a garbage match. So he just don't expect him on the show. The Bioflex injury report was done to let us know not to expect Joe Hendry on the show. I kind of get that. But you really took a baby face moment away from Gia Miller to let us know fucking Team 3D was cleared after a thorough evaluation. After this was the Call Your Shot gauntlet. I'm not going to go through every soundbite, obviously. I will go through the first couple, though. It was Lang Lee.
From Chingchong, China.
Who are there? They are obviously pushing. She was last two in the Call Your Shot gauntlet little battle royal they did that Mance Warner won. She comes out here where it's usually a high profile spot that comes out number one. She was last two in the Knockouts Gauntlet that Kalani Jordan won. She's obviously getting a little bit of a push, which is good for her tag team with Zaya Brookside, the Kabuki Warriors. Number two was Queen of the Bioflex segment, Mara Sade.
Dracarys.
Jacksonville, the community, Duval.
I said Queen of the Bioflex segment because I just did that off the top of my head. I got to come up with something. My whole point with that was that I'll just say Bioflex legend because she took that clothesline from Agent Zero and then wrestled on the next show. Well, everyone else who was attacked by Agent Zero was out for weeks on the show. Bioflex legend Mara Sade, and they were the first two. And again, shout out Mike Gilbert. I texted him when I was watching this, and I said, I guarantee Ryan Nemeth is coming out number three. Because the only way to do this, have two girls, and you're starting the match with two girls, is to bring a Joe character out number three. Like, you can't bring Jake something up number three. You know what I mean? That just wouldn't work. So I thought they laid this out pretty good because you bring out the joke male character, and then you can start filling the matchup with guys, and it makes sense or whatever, you know. I thought, well, before I get to that point, shout out fucking Telegraph and Tom when AJ Francis came out after Rich Swann was in there. Ray Wallace said, "Oh well, here's some reinforcement for Rich Swann." I don't know. AJ Francis is always out for himself. And then I was like, he's going to eliminate Rich Swann. You know, that was not a good Hannafin voice. I don't even know what voice that was. That's it. Ray Wall's voice. It's too early, folks. So Hannafin telegraphs right away that he's going to eliminate Rich Swann. I'd been meaning to say on the podcast, and I just kept forgetting. Rich Swann was not he kind of returned to the company and then he disappeared. It was just because he had a lot of other previous dates booked, or previously had dates booked, so he had to see those through. So that's why he wasn't on the last set of tapings. He had to do NWA, and then he did some like indie stuff. But yeah, it was just prior commitments. That's the reason he was not on the show. I thought this was the best Call Your Shot Gauntlet until the shenanigans. I thought the Sinner and Saint coin toss thing was a little silly. It was a little long. And it was done because they wanted to pay both guys. So they actually fit the entire roster onto this show to pay them. The only people they missed were the knockouts they don't use. Harley Hudson, Mila Moore, the other two new girls, and Killer Kelly. Other than that, they fit the whole roster on here. One way or another, so they could pay everyone their per appearance fee. So impressive, but I look forward to the day that we don't have to shove the entire roster onto a show. But I thought this was the best Call Your Shot Gauntlet because a couple of them had not been good, and it's because I think they struggled with how to lay them out with the males versus the females. I thought they did a really excellent job with that, but then it started getting hokey when Jody Threat comes out and gets clotheslined by Frankie Kazarian out of nowhere. So Zaya Brookside was supposed to be in this, but she was sick. I would imagine she was the Zach Clayton spot. I could be wrong, but I'm going to assume that's where her spot was. Which, shout out Zach Clayton. Like, I'm a Jersey Shore mark, so it was cool to see him on there. Ray Wall said when he got eliminated, that'll give JWoww something to tweet about. The cast from Jersey Shore does not fucking tweet that much. They don't actually they have about as much engagement on their tweets as I do. They're not like they're old. They're old like me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not they're not on Twitter like that. But anyway, I know I keep saying this, and I keep spiraling, going down rabbit holes. I thought it was the best laid out gauntlet until it started getting hokey. Frankie Kazarian puts himself into it. He just entered it. He was just like, "Hey, I took Jody Threat out. The minute he clotheslines Jody Threat, Santino comes out immediately. I don't got the soundbite here for him. Santino comes out immediately. And they start arguing, and he's just like, hey, I'm going to enter the Battle Royal. Okay. So he enters the Battle Royal. He enters the gauntlet. Who just happens to be the next number? Santino. Santino's in the match. So that they can recreate the Royal Rumble elimination. Did it pop me a little bit? Yes. I'm not going to bullshit you. I actually kind of laughed when they did it. It just wasn't necessary. I don't know that the fans. It's one of those things, the WWE fans, the portion of the fans watching this probably found it funny. The TNA portion of the fans was like, why is Santino in the match? All right. I don't think that was the Xia Brookside spot. I think they 100% wanted to do the Santino spot. Santino was all over this show like he always is. And kind of a wasted elimination, waste of a spot. And yeah, they didn't have really any surprises in this because, in the past they have, but now they're really trying to get the entire roster onto these shows. I think they kind of did the same thing last year, actually. So I predicted in this thing that the last two were going to be, not the last two, I said the winner was going to be Nick Nemeth. He was the biggest star in the match. It was time for him to be in the title picture again. So then when the last two are Frankie and Nick Nemeth, I'm intrigued. Because I said, you know what? We have two heels. One of these heels is going to have to lose to the other heel. This is interesting. Instead, they give us one of the worst finishes. And again, they're probably going to say, let it play out. I'm going to tell you why it's one of the worst finishes. They pin each other. And classic, we pin each other at the same time. Santino comes up again. And what he says for the first time ever, we're going to have, let's play the Santino soundbite.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
He can't be on the show that much without me hitting it. He says for the first time ever, we're going to have two winners. And they booed him out of the building and started chanting bullshit. Remember, TNA, a large portion of this audience is the vocal WWE fan who is giving TNA a chance. And they will hold you accountable. They will boo shit that they don't like. The TNA fans, for the most part, there's a lot of people who are like myself that if something's bad, they'll say it's bad. There's a lot of TNA fans where everything is good. And they have allowed over the years for TNA to feed them a shit sandwich without the bread and say, okay, well, it's good. I love it. And now they try to do one of the TNA finishes and the crowd turned on it. The crowd doesn't typically turn on the TNA booking. There's a lot of marks in there that accept whatever. Okay? You did this thinking the crowd was going to be into it. Oh, wow. They were not. So we have two winners. The positive that I'll say is that it's a story. There's a storyline coming out of this. They usually telegraph who the winner is going to be well in advance of the gauntlet taking place. They didn't do that here. I pointed that out when I was reviewing the show. There was no storyline leading up to this thing. So there's a storyline coming out of it. It remains to be seen if this storyline is going to be any good. We saw it play out a little bit at the end of the night. I wasn't impressed. My concern is that this is going to be more comedy than anything. Nick Nemeth, Frankie Kazarian both fighting over the trophy. Apparently, you need the trophy to cash in. You got to carry that big ass trophy. Give him the fucking Eddie Edwards #1 employee trophy, #1 dad trophy, that little fucking thing he was carrying around. Give someone something. You know what I mean? But no, we're gonna fight over the big trophy, and you need it to cash in. So I don't know, man. It sometimes you have to just say, okay, I'm gonna be optimistic that they're gonna tell us a story. We're always asking for stories. I'm always asking for stories. I don't know if this is gonna be good or not. I'm leaning towards no, but I'm gonna try to be optimistic and say, okay, tell us a story, TNA. Give us entertaining television where Nick Nemeth and Frankie Kazarian both grow from it. They're not taken as comedy jokes, because these are frankly your two top heels at this point. You know, obviously Mustafa Ali's in there. Our Order 4 doesn't beat anybody. So these are basically your two top heels. By doing this angle, you're telling us these are our two top heels. But if it's a joke storyline, the fans are going to turn on it. They've already turned on it. We heard them turn on it. We heard them say that this was bullshit. We heard them boo Santino out of the building. Santino thought he was going to get a pop from the audience. And again, they're used to this TNA fan base. It's not like that now. So this is a challenge for maybe some more logical booking. You know, just the finishes on this show were so weird. It's like just when you thought you weren't going to get another weird finish, you just got another. You know, I won't say the pre-show. I won't throw that into that category because it was a pre-show match. But I think even with the Kazarian and Macklin, I think right away off the bat, people thought like I did. Why did they do a title change? You know, so I throw that into the category of like weird finishes because in the moment it felt odd. And then you go to Tessa Blanchard, whatever. Does she need to cheat to beat Gia Miller? You know what I'm saying? And then you kind of go into this. We have two winners, and then it just continues throughout the show. You're like, what is up with these finishes? You know what I'm saying? It was like almost every match. You're just like, and just when you think, okay, cool, they got the dumb finishes out of the way. Let's get to the match. Like it's another one. So we'll see what they do with this Call Your Shot. Oh, and this BDE kid looked pretty good. I wasn't a big fan of the Rascals entering at the same time. I mean, if that wasn't the ultimate, we need to squeeze everyone on the show to pay them moment, I don't know what is. So I wasn't a big fan of that. I think they're done. I think they're going to be done here. I haven't heard anything, but I know that like the contracts that they do not come off like they're going to do something with them. For Myron Reed to have that huge match with Leon Slater, something I should have elevated him, and he's coming out with his partners. The Call Your Shot Gauntlet. They feel like a team on their way out the door. Oh man! After this, wow. Knockouts World Championship match. We had the challenging Indy Hartwell.
How long did it take you to learn English once you got here?
It was really easy because we speak English in Australia, you fucking idiot.
Against the TNA Knockouts champion, Kalani Jordan.
It became personal with me.
I know that soundbite's a little low, and I don't really care at this point. It's Michael Jordan saying it became personal with me because they're both Jordan. I came up with a quick soundbite for her a couple weeks ago because I was like, well, she's not going to be the champion past Bound for Glory. You guys have heard me say for several years, and it was mainly under Scott D'Amore, but for the most part, I've always said this, that TNA sticks to the plan. Obviously, when Ash dropped the title, they had no choice not to stick to the plan because she wasn't going to be the champion anymore. But they slotted Kalani Jordan into the Ash by Elegance storyline like boom. They just remove one, put the other one in. I could kind of understand it, even if it made no sense at NXT Showdown. But then I'm thinking, okay, at Bound for Glory, they have time to let this, simmer, think about how do we want to move forward? How do we want to adjust? I told you guys, I don't think Indy Hartwell was beating Ash by Elegance at Bound for Glory. She should have won here. Oh my God, what are they doing? First of all, this match was not even a little bit good. And I said that when they wrestled in the 6-man tag on Impact, that their interactions looked very bad. And I do like Indy Hartwell a lot. Kalani Jordan, I think she's hot, but that's about it. I think she's pretty good, but I was already over NXT Knockouts champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, put the fucking title on Indy Hartwell. You had an opportunity to just do what the people wanted. No one wanted this finish. But Kalani Jordan won. She's still a Knockouts champion. They just put her in the Ash by Elegance slot and said, we're going to continue the Ash by Elegance storyline. So, I did a whole podcast on this, my Positive BQ show. They did not rush Mike Santana to be world champion. They didn't rush Joe Hendry. They didn't rush the Inspiration this time around. They didn't rush Indy Hartwell. Where under Scott D'Amore, all these people would have been champion within the first 60 days. You know what I mean? That is the one thing I do give them respect for creatively. Okay, even though we known every time, as soon as these people debuted, they're going to be champion. Like we knew that from the beginning. Okay, I give them respect for not rushing, but we can't do it every single time. I said I thought Joe Hendry won the title of pay-per-view too late. I said it. Mike Santana, I think, won the title of pay-per-view too late. They're obviously going to put the title on Indy Hartwell. They're just going to keep going until she's the champion. It's the TNA booking, like I said. They just keep wrestling till the babyface wins. No one is going to care by that point. I'm telling you guys right now. By the time Indy Hartwell wins the championship, no one will care. They may even have to flip her heel. Just please keep that in the back of your mind that we may have to get a heel champion. She needed to win here. It was her moment to win. I'm not saying there was this big awesome storyline that led up to it, because it wasn't. She won the triple threat with Jody Thread and Danny Luna, who don't beat anybody. We're going to talk about Jody Thread and Danny Luna here in a second, because that just reminded me. So there was no story or anything. I'm not saying there was this awesome Mike Santana story. But this was the spot for her to win the fucking title, and the fans would have accepted it. The fans don't want NXT to have the Knockouts Championship. Mike Santana brought the title home. Like, we don't need more NXT holding the belts. It's not to say we can't get back there, but the fan base, the TNA fan base, your core audience is not a fan of that. And it doesn't mean you have to book for them. But this would have just been a good opportunity to get the titles all off NXT for the rest of the year. Instead, we're just like, okay, NXT is going to have one of our titles for the rest of the year. So I thought she needed a win here for multiple reasons. This was one of the most ice cold knockouts. The fans did not care. The fans in the arena didn't really care who won, but I really think at the core, the TNA fan base did not like this. So Kalani Jordan is going to continue as champion. She's going to cut bad promos on TV. She's going to feud with God knows who. They haven't pushed any heels, so that's why I said Mara Sade, they may have to turn her heel. Like, the fuck is she? Even if Indy Hartwell won, I'm like, who are they going to wrestle? Because Ash is gone. I could see Ash and Indy feuding for the rest of the year, but that's not a thing anymore. So they haven't built anybody up. So I don't know. We might be at a kind of a dud period for the Knockouts Championship. We'll see what they do. I wanted to say about Jody Thread and Danny Luna very quick. They have missed such an opportunity. When they were splitting up, or Danny Luna was kind of turning heel, I said, I'm into this. I'm intrigued. I was not a Spitfire fan. I enjoy them as singles significantly more. All right. I mean, even Jody Threat. I like them as singles wrestlers because I think they're talented in the ring. But they had a real opportunity to tell a very good breakup storyline, but really like their version of the Rockers, honestly. And there's no breakup storyline that's ever going to be the Rockers. But I mean, I think they had an opportunity to do a very impactful breakup storyline and a feud that elevated the two of them, where Danny Luna, well, Danny Luna is probably going to be the next challenger for the title, but that's the only one that makes any sense. But they haven't really like built her to that. You know what I mean? She really could have had a strong feud with Jody Threat that she wins, and Jody Threat looks good as a babyface in the process. Like they just could have done something that elevated both of them, I think, and really elevated Danny Luna, like to being um, a real contender for the title. You know, they have like not pulled the trigger on that even a little bit. They've like loosely wrestled each other, loosely interacted with each other in the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Now, granted, Jody Threat didn't enter, but Danny Luna was eliminated seconds before Jody Threat's music hit. So at this point, I don't even know that they're Frankie Kazarian is going to clothesline her. But just for that like 30 seconds, I was like, they're not going to wrestle in the gauntlet against each other. Because there were some people on social media too. They've been agreeing with me that they've really dropped the ball on this, and they said, well, they'll probably do something in the gauntlet. Like they're just keeping these girls away from each other. It's crazy. I meant to say this during the gauntlet. I said it was laid out like the Royal Rumble, I think of last year or whatever. I like the entranceway. I give TNA a lot of props for this. When the wrestlers' music hit, for the most part, there was like, the Sinner and Saint nonsense and a couple. Yeah, Mance Warner came down with a group. They looked like they were just all dressed up for Halloween. Like there was a couple entrances that were kind of hokey, but for the most part, the music hit and they just came running down the aisle like the Royal Rumble in the 80s. You know, I was watching the Royal Rumble last year. I was watching. I always. That's the one thing like my family and I will watch together because we all draw random numbers and we all have like, see if there's 6 of us, we all have like 5 wrestlers assigned to us, and if our wrestler wins, they get to pick a restaurant that we go eat for dinner as a family, whatever. So it's a fun thing we do every year. But when I was watching the Royal Rumble, a lot of the wrestlers were taking so much time to get themselves over and do their full entrance that by the time they got to the ring, it started counting down again. Like I remember Cody Rhodes came down and he got on his knee. He's so fucking full of himself, but he did this whole dramatic, it had fucking fireworks and everything. And by the time he got to the ring, like it started counting down for the next guy. Like, I'm like, what is the point of that? Where TNA has shorter intervals. So they didn't waste time for someone to stand in the entranceway and do their poses and try to get themselves over. Like the music hit and they pretty much hit the ring. Again, there was a couple that did their little hokey entrances, whatever. But for the most part, they treated it like, hey, it's my, they drew my number. I'm gonna run down to the ring, and so I actually give them a lot of respect to that because I just thought watching a Royal Rumble that was so fucking weird. So yeah. Anyway, Kalani Jordan is still our Knockouts Tag Team Champion. Knockouts World Champion, excuse me. All right, my friends. After this,
lazy booking.
It is the Hardcore War, Order 4 versus the System. I'm not playing all their sound bites. Garbage match. They all come in at intervals, just like the freaking Call Your Shot Gauntlet that happened 2 matches ago. They all come out at intervals. They bring out their weapons. I think I predicted the Order 4 to win here because I almost don't even know why the match happened because the System beat Order 4 in every single fucking match that they could put together. The only one was Ali beating Moose for the advantage, but they always do that. The heel always wins so that they have the advantage going into this match. They've been doing it forever. But every other single match they laid out, Tasha Steelz versus Alicia Edwards, they did a 6-man tag. The Order 4 never won. So that's why I was like, why is this a fucking garbage match? Why is this a grudge match? Why we're just having weapons just to have weapons? Why is this even a feud? The feud should be over at this point. The Order 4 is lost. So I was like really not really into it because of that. All right. I did I did predict Order 4 to win because I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, because if the Order 4 wins, either Ali can move into the world title picture, he can team up with Agent Zero, and they can go for the tag titles, which could still might make some sense, actually. I just felt like there were so many directions you can go if the Order 4 wins. System wins. What the fuck did they? What, like they were to the point they actually probably need to break up because it's stale, So anyway, garbage match. And this is an Eddie Edwards home state, whatever. So I don't even know why did I think the Order 4 was going to win this match? I have no idea. Not wrestling related. The system is all wearing Celtic colors, Celtic green. The Order 4 comes out. Matt Raywall points this out.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that Patrick Price on my insurance, Jake from State Farm.
He says that the Order 4 is wearing purple and gold like the Celtics rival the Lakers. Can we just, you guys know I'm always bringing logic when I'm watching this. This is supposed to be a grudge match. This is supposed to be a blood feud. If the system wants to all come out dressed in Celtic green, that is fine. How do the opponents know to put on purple and gold? Would that not mean that the heels are coordinating with the baby faces prior to the match, like they're going to the prom? What are you wearing? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like, you're just, it's wrestling. Who cares? No. When wrestling is fucking fake and phony, it loses people. When wrestling makes logical sense, people are into it. So if you come out Celtic green, awesome. For the heels to come out in the opposing colors wearing the purple and gold, that means that you had to coordinate with each other behind the scenes prior to the match on this fake phony wrestling show.
Fake and a phony, and I wish I'd never laid eyes on you.
So I thought there were some good moments here. You know me. I mean, these fucking garbage matches just don't really get me erect. They do the opposite very much. But I thought it was fine. The Order 4 was dominating this entire thing, so I was like, system's gonna win. It was just very obvious in how they laid out the match. There was no way the Order 4 was getting that dominant of a victory. All right, TNA does not book like that. There's no way in hell. And I thought it would, another reason I thought the Order 4 could win is because you don't have to cheat in a hardcore match. Like, you have weapons already. You're already cheating. So I just thought they try to go for the feel good moment for the fans instead of what could make the show a little more entertaining and interesting going forward. Now they got me. So Alicia puts out the tax. Let me check my notes here before I get to the finish to make sure there wasn't something else that no. Okay. Alicia lays out the tax. And she goes through the tax. She got tax sticking out of her ass. I wanted to go help her. I wanted to help get him out. Okay. There was a moment where after she goes through the tax, Mustafa Ali pours tax on top of her and goes to the top rope to do his 450. And I'm thinking to myself, is this going to be the finish of the match? Like, my mind is always get the heat. I'm always telling you guys that. My mind is always like, go for the heat. I want fans to boo some of these wrestlers, to really passionately boo them. Not like when they're panning the crowd and Eric Young's coming out and the cameras show the TNA fans and they're booing with their thumbs down while they're smiling. That's not what I'm talking about. I want them to like legitimately boo these motherfuckers out of the arena. So he puts the tax on her. There's no one around. And I'm thinking, are they going to go for the heat? Is he going to hit this on Alicia Edwards, put tax through her, in what is also her home state. So now I'm like very intrigued. I'm very interested. Not that I want Alicia to get hurt, but I would have been fawning over that finish. I would have been in love with it. He goes for the 450. She rolls out of the way, and he hits the tax. Now, this 450, he goes for this all the time. And if someone rolls out of the ring, he lands on his feet and rolls through it, right? So you're gonna tell me this one time the knockout rolls out of the way, and that's what threw him off to where he completes the entire move and goes chest first into the attacks. And then he takes a garbage Boston knee party, and he's pinned. Your best heel in the company. I don't know what they do with the Order 4 from here. I thought Agent Zero was very impressive. I don't know why more wrestlers. I wish more wrestlers looked like that in today's landscape. He came out, dude was fucking cut. I was like, nice, man. Good for you, dude. He was very impressive in this match. He did not sell a whole lot. It wasn't phony. I thought he came out of this looking very, very strong. I just didn't understand the finish. I didn't understand the feel-good moment in Massachusetts. I get what's next for the system. Like, seriously. I'm sure they'll find something. But, man, if there was just so much meat on this bone for the Order 4 to, like, for Ali to hit that 450, to take, shout out Bioflex, take Alicia off TV for a little bit. That could have developed the system a little bit. Ali could have moved into the title picture. Well, actually, it's probably a good reason he doesn't, because they got this call your shot thing going. Ali and Agent Zero very well could just move into the tag team division here and like brought gold home to the Order 4 that way. Like, I just felt like there was just all this meat on the bone if the Order 4 won the match. The system wins, and it's like now both of these stables have to start from zero almost. You understand what I'm saying? Start from zero. Like, there's no storyline for either. There's no progression out of Bound for Glory. Like, the feud is over. It was already over because the Order 4 didn't beat him in any of the previous matches. So, yeah, man. Bound for Glory. Shout out Tom Hannafin. After this X Division title match,
the limit does not exist.
We had Javon Evans from NXT, and he was challenging Leon Slater.
Hey, here. I'm in charge.
Do you feel in charge?
Now, I'm sure most of you really love this. Okay? I say this every time we have these high-profile X Division matches where they're just diving all over the place. I'm sure you guys love this. These are really, really athletic guys. Again, it's not my style, but I can objectively look at it and say, hey, this was an excellent match. I'm not Meltzer. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't like it, it's not good. It's not my style, but it's obviously something a lot of you guys enjoy. We expected Javon Evans to win this thing, right? We were pretty confident in that because he got pinned at Showdown by Leon Slater. So yeah, so we're like, yeah. NXT's gonna get another title. Fast forwarding to the end of this thing, which they had all their. I mean, they did have some spots in this match. They really did. They're very, very, very athletically gifted guys. We get to the match. The lights go out. No, I'm saying the lights didn't go out yet because we had a time limit draw. Okay, which would have already been a wonky finish, but I was like accepting of it. I said, okay, we don't get a lot of draws. It's a pay-per-view. It's like winning by count out at a pay-per-view, but I was like, I can live with it. Time limit draw, whatever. And I think I was muted at this point, so it's possible it was a double count out, but I thought it was a time limit draw. That's what I thought that they said. Regardless, it was a tie. And then again, and I thought it was a good way to protect both guys. I was like, whatever. Who comes out?
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe shit.
And I wouldn't have even showed my face on the show after you announced that we had 2 winners of the Call Your Shot Gauntlet. Okay? This motherfucker comes out and says, we're going to wrestle till we have a winner or whatever. Maybe he said 5 minutes, more minutes. I don't even know what he said. I had him on mute. If Santino could have come out, if he came out in this X Division title match, remember, I'm bringing logic to you guys. If he could come out to the X Division match and saying, we will have a winner, why couldn't he have done that during the Call Your Shot Gauntlet? Why not give them 5 more minutes? Why not have them wrestle till we had a winner? You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make any sense? We have 2 winners. Okay, we just like, and the people booed him out of the fucking building. So then say, okay, you know what? Continue. So we have one definitive winner. So what's the difference later in the night for the X Division champion? The Call Your Shot is even more important because they can challenge for any title they want whenever they want. It's more important to have a definitive winner there than later in the match when 2 baby faces fucking fighting each other in a feel-good wrestling match. Okay, we had a draw. Leave it at that. Rematch later. Then the lights go out. And it's Mark State. The shitty group from NXT. They were on this show once before, and when they lost, remember I said, as they were leaving, one guy said, we'll be back. I'm like, please don't come back. All right? Fucking Job State. Who the fuck cares? Oh my God. Came down and ruined the match. And people were not booing them because they had heat. People were booing them because who the fuck are these guys? Of course, Hannafin knows all of their names. You watch way too much wrestling if you can list all of Mark State's names and recognize them by face. It's like, yeah, it is like 2 black guys and 2 white guys, but this is like still one of the most interchangeable fucking groups. They could replace a member one week and nobody would know. Like if they just showed up one week and one of the guys was fired and they just put someone else in place, like no one would even know. This green ass fucking stable comes and ruins the match. And that was worse than the first finish. Like as much as I don't think people wanted a draw, I think they would have accepted the draw. But instead we got what they gave us. So we're going to get Mark State on TV. After this, we had TNA tag team titles on the line in a tables match. Now, both teams, we had the Hardys, Matt Hardy.
Wonderful.
And Jeff Hardy.
Jeff.
They took on Team 3D. They were dressed like early 2000s versions of the Hardys and the Dudley Boys. That's fine. You know, it's like going to the prom. What are you wearing? But it's different because these are 2 babyface teams. This isn't like the Hardcore War. It's supposed to be a blood feud, but they come out cosplaying. You know, the teams got big pops. I didn't think the match needed the belts, but I understand the story is the championships with these teams, and they wanted as many championships on the line as possible. They wanted, you know, I get it. I would have preferred someone else defend the titles on this show. I really didn't think this needed the championships, but TNA disagrees, which is fine. This also was not good. It wasn't as bad as a knockouts match. In the knockouts match, I actually fell asleep. I was struggling to stay awake through it. It was so bad. This was not very good, but it didn't need to be. It's what it was. It did what it was supposed to do. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and this was not a 5-star match. Like it was always going to be like a 2-star match. It always was. It's a garbage match. They've done multiple garbage matches on this show leading up to this. They did a garbage match earlier in the episode, or earlier in the pay-per-view. So the people are really desensitized to a lot of the shit that they're doing because they've already seen a lot of it. To me, the tables match is the dumbest concept because I'm watching this and I see a wrestler lay someone onto a table and then like how many times they do this throughout this match? Lay Bully Ray on a table, and then Jeff Hardy starts climbing the ladder to swanton the guy through the ladder. If you're putting him on the table, why don't you just body slam him through the table and win the match? You know what I'm saying? Like it's the dumbest fucking concept, and it's what it was. It was like iconic as far as the people involved. So for that reason, it's kind of like people are going to be interested in it. I think Team 3D retired after this. But then it gets, I know they were trying to tell a story here. I don't think it hit. Like Bully Ray tried to basically say, I give up, put me through the table. Like they weren't kicking his ass that bad. He caught like a couple twist of fates. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think like no one was bleeding like John Schuyler earlier in the show. No one was bleeding. No one was, you know, for whatever reason they had two referees for this fucking match. Like we need two referees to confirm that someone went through a table. But they were trying to tell a story. I don't think it hit. I thought the finish came off really flat. But obviously the Hardys won. I said I wanted to try not to be negative. I don't think I had anything good to say about the majority of these matches. The matches were okay for the most part. Okay, a couple of them were not good, but it was like the finishes. The finishes were so weird throughout this entire show. Bound for Glory historically has been overbooked. Okay, Slammiversary is very rarely overbooked. Bound for Glory historically, the reason I always say it's not as good as Slammiversary, they historically overthink it. They historically overbook it. You can go back to any Bound for Glory over the last 10 years that I've been reviewing this company and tell me that I'm wrong. All right. The worst one, oh my God, I think 2017 or whatever. It was like I think it's 2017. That was kind of the transition between Global Force going back to Impact. Like that was one of the worst shows I've ever seen. And the overbooking on it was ridiculous. Let's get into the main event.
Oh, and I kick out.
This is for the TNA World Championship. Mike Santana.
That's nasty.
Challenging the TNA World Champion Trick Williams.
How about a magic trick?
This was one of the better matches on the show. We knew that was going to be. We knew that Mike Santana was going to win. They went to the floor immediately, which I said, is this a no disqualification, no countout match? Again, we've seen two garbage matches up to this point, so I'm desensitized by trash cans and stuff like that on the outside. Hannafin and Ray Wall said the match had not officially started yet. Like, I actually disagree because they were both in the ring. Mike Santana attacked him, ring the bell. He didn't attack him on the way to the ring. They were in the ring. So the minute there's physicality, you ring the bell. All right, look at me as a podcaster telling them how to do their job. The match should have started. But instead, they went to the outside, found garbage, and they brawled. It was a good, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but it was a good touch. Basically, I have Mike Santana's daughter ringside. When I say that she is the doppelganger of my son's best friend, who's 13, she looks about 13. When I say doppelganger, I thought it was her. Like, I mean, fucking identical. It was so crazy. They got the same glasses and all that shit. That was, oh my God. Anyway, it was a good touch having her. I thought it was a miss a couple times because they show Mike Santana getting his butt kicked and she's smiling watching the match. She's a kid, though. You know what I mean? They did the slap spot, which I thought was hokey and unnecessary. You know, if she grabbed a cup of water or something like that, but I mean, this dude's fucking 6'8" and sells the slap from a 13-year-old, you know, like that kind of stuff is not for me. I don't think she had to get involved in the match. Mike Santana obviously eventually wins. He wins the title finally. I thought he went for spin the block too many times to where by the time he hit it, I know what they're trying to say. Like he's trying to win the match, he just can't. But that's one of those moves, man. I just don't think you can keep going for it and missing. He hit one at one point that Trick Williams kicked out of. So then we knew Mike Santana was going to kick out of Trick Williams' finisher later because that's what they do. It's 50-50. And I didn't think the finish was like that great, but it worked. I thought it was having his daughter come in after, like she was very emotional when he won. I thought that was a great touch. Not that they did it on purpose. I'm not saying it was phony, but it really added something to the win. And I thought they should have went off the air like that. And instead they start introducing the hokey call your shot gauntlet shit into this. So the music hits for Nick Nemeth. He comes out. The lights go out. And Tom Hannafin hits us with the what the hell that he always does when the lights go out. And we got the returning Elijah hit him with a guitar. How did Elijah know Nick Nemeth was coming out to interfere in this match? Like, I know you guys, it's just wrestling. Like, I can't help but see the logic in this stuff. You know, who's asking for the return of Elijah? Like, seriously, it just really muddied up the end of the show. And again, like, that's why I keep saying the finishes. Like, this is still part of the finish, in my opinion, because we're not off the air yet. Like, no one's asking for the return of Elijah. Like, seriously, he could have just showed up on the episode and people would have been fine, you know? But for like the lights to go out, like, how did he know Nick Nemeth was coming out to cash? Like, it's the kind of shit I'm talking about. And that happens a lot in wrestling. You know, someone showing up. I'm like, well, you had to have known all these other steps to get to that point for you to come out. Like, so Dark State, for instance. Why did they interfere when the match was in overtime? Why didn't they show up during the fucking match, the actual real match, the first match before it went to a draw? They had these motherfuckers like 30 minutes to come out. Why didn't they come out then? It was once okay, you know, we will have a winner. They waited for Santino to come out and said that's our cue. That's when we're going to interfere in the match. Like that's like the weird, like non-logical shit that I see when I'm watching these shows. And the reason I bring up logic so much is because if you can operate with logic, I think it ultimately makes the show more entertaining. I think it opens the eyeballs to more people who maybe don't watch a lot of wrestling. Because I mean, how many times have you guys watched wrestling with a friend who doesn't really watch wrestling, and they're like, "Well, that's fake." And I'm not talking about the moves and all that stuff, but just the shit that they do on screen. We're a little desensitized to hokey wrestling shit because we watch it all the time. But when you have someone who is not really a fan, you know, they can point out every freaking logic hole like within seconds of what they're watching. You know, so I thought that was very unnecessary, especially when the gimmick of two winners booed them out of the building earlier in the night, like call an audible. All right. People did not want to see this. And then Frankie Kazarian tries to cash in, and that's when they let us know you need the trophy to cash in. So he couldn't ring the bell. Mike Santana hits him with the spin the block. And both of them look very weak. Your two top heels who are this is probably going to end in a triple threat. Let's be real. But your two top heels who are your call your shot gauntlet winners, which is your money in the bank, both end the show on their ass. I envision a lot of very bad comedy coming up. That is my biggest concern. If they feel like the best storyline was to have two winners for the gauntlet, I will let that play out. But if it's comedy, that's where I kind of have an issue. But yeah, Mike Santana finally wins. You notice in the picture here, he's got the face paint perfectly intact, meaning he took the title with the belt before the match started. Logic. Yeah, man. Bound for Glory 2025. Entertaining enough. But there was just so many logic holes, so many weird finishes that they just really overthought almost this entire thing. It felt like every single match just about was overthought. And they're not doing episodes right now, so there's no real fallout out of Bound for Glory. Like we know they're doing episodes the rest of the year. It feels like it's going to be phoned in because there's nothing There's nothing coming out of the show other than the call your shot thing, which I don't think people are interested in. There's nothing out of this show saying, I need to see what's next. I need to see what's the next story with this person. What is next for them? There's none of that. We had a lot of baby faces win. I think the champions are now all baby faces. Am I right with that? Every single champion is a baby face. Okay. Which is fine. If you want to come out of your biggest show of the year with all babyface champions, that's fine. But fucking at least build the heels up to that point so that you conquered something. Instead, we just get a bunch of babyface versus babyface matches. We had at least 2 of them on this show. We had 3 of them. And 3 of them were title matches. So there was no heat going into them whatsoever. So the babyfaces weren't conquering anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, Bound for Glory is at the end of the year, damn near. So build up to that. Build like your bad guys. You know, there's just nothing out of this that makes me say I can't wait to see what's next. There just isn't. So that's like my issue with Bound for Glory as a whole here. Again, it was solid enough. It was probably one of their weaker shows of the year as far as like the impact of it. I'll never talk about how hard the wrestlers worked and all that. From that standpoint, if you like good matches, I thought the matches for the most part were pretty good. Outside of the tables match, outside of the knockouts match, like if you're just looking for solid quality wrestling, you were probably okay with this. But if you're looking for a reason to tune in next week or the week after or for the next pay-per-view, this did not do that. It's a long review for me. It is time for me to start and get ready for work. I'm your boy, BQ. This is your Bound for Glory review. I'm out. Peace. I said peace.